Good morning and welcome. Welcome to SoundCheck with Dr. Greta Pope. My name is Jess Jones. I am the Center Director here with the Coffer Resource Center based in Chicago, Illinois. We exist to support union performers and professionals in the pursuit of professional excellence, and we are happy that we are sitting down with you today. Before we get started, I want to make sure that you are plugged into us virtually. So if you do not get our information about these types of events, conversations, and series, and programs that might be of interest, please be sure to follow us if you don't already. We are on Facebook and Instagram at Coffer Center. And you could also subscribe to our newsletter so you get this information straight to your inbox. You go to coffercenterchicago.com. Right down at the center at the bottom of our page, there's a Coffer headliner subscription button. So head over there, opt into our communications, and we'll make sure that we keep you updated as soon as there are new opportunities for us to stay connected in this virtual world that we are in. This is our last sound check for 2020. We're going to be on a brief hiatus for the holidays. And it has been wonderful sitting down over the last number of weeks with Dr. Greta Pope and her guests. If you do enjoy these series, you can catch up during our break. Head over to our YouTube. We're also at Coffer Center on YouTube. You can check out today's conversation when we're done, as well as past conversations from the previous week and weeks that we're leading up to today, so that you're all caught up before we start again in the new year. And we would love to have you back with us. We'll be releasing a new lineup of guests starting in January, the first Friday after the new year, not January 1st, but the following week we'll be back with the series. So we hope you can join us. Without further ado, I'm going to invite the lady of the hour to the conversation, Dr. Greta Pope. Dr. Pope has been so wonderful bringing these conversations to us, because this is essentially, and I've said this in weeks past, this is what I miss about being together in real life, is just sitting down over a cup of coffee and having conversation at the Coffer Center and hearing what you've been up to, what's up in your life, what's up in your work. And so I'm so grateful to you, Greta, for bringing this conversation to this space, because this is good for me, because this is what I miss about being together with our people. So I'm so grateful to you for creating this space, inviting folks to this space with you, and hosting this space with us virtually. So thank you, Greta. And without further ado, I'm going to throw it over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Jess. It's great to be here this morning. As I was telling you earlier, I love your Christmas decorations. Everything is just beautiful. Your tree.
I felt like I had to take advantage of this space before it goes away, because when we're back, we're just in your average January. So I'm like, this is my last sound check with Twinkle Light, so I better sit down here and enjoy it. So
very, very festive. Yes, it's great to see you today. So we're very excited today. We have some wonderful guests with us. Good morning and welcome to SoundCheck. I'm Dr. Greta Pope, and I'm so excited to have this opportunity to visit with creatives from a variety of disciplines about their professional journey. We are in the midst of a pandemic, as you know, that has changed all of our lives and the ways in which we work. We will use this forum to share our thoughts, our feelings, and best practices for surviving this challenging time. Today, our guests are Charles Andrew Gardner and Troy Pryor. Born and raised on Chicago's South Side, SAG-AFTRA Chicago local president Charles Andrew Gardner is an actor, educator, and filmmaker with a passion for illuminating the stories of the underrepresented. On camera, credits include The Chi, Chicago PD. Films include Long Ride Home, Olympia, Noise and Color, Every 21 Seconds, and Holding On, as well as multiple national commercials for brands including Hyundai, Liberty Mutual, Ford, and AT&T. Voiceover credits include PepsiCo, McDonald's, Comcast, Walmart, and Dunkin' Donuts. Welcome, Charles.
Thank you, Greta. And thank you for reading that. It always sounds, we look at our own bio and we look at our resume, thank you for reading that and that great introduction.
Absolutely, very comprehensive and shows all of the wonderful things that you are involved with, and it's great. Our next guest is Troy Osborne Pryor. He is an American producer, actor, and public speaker. His stage, on-camera, and voiceover work has led to award-winning content, including collaborations with ABC, HGTV, Warner Brothers Entertainment, DIY Network, TV One, and Aspire TV. He is a Chicago native. Troy is an advocate for connecting local, undiscovered, diverse talent to mainstream content and media platforms through his production network, Creative Cipher. His collaborations with Oscar and Grammy-winning artists and their foundations include Rhymefest, Kanye West's Donda's, Donda's House Organization, and Commons Common Ground Foundation. Welcome, Troy.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. We're so glad to have you here. Yeah, it's so great to see you guys doing some impressive work. So tell me, what have you been doing since the start of this pandemic? What have your days been like? And how have things changed for you during this time? Charles, why don't you start?
Yeah. So a lot of what I've been up to, one of the things that wasn't on the bio, the intro, I'm an arts educator. And so I teach on-camera acting with the acting studio. And I also teach arts education with Steppenwolf and with Timeline. And so it's been a lot of teaching young people, being in high schools, navigating distance learning with them, just on the teaching side. And I was fortunate enough that pretty much as soon as the pandemic happened, I think only 3 weeks went by, maybe 4 weeks. And Rachel, who owns the acting studio, was just smart enough and savvy enough and nimble enough to transition us to online. So I felt connected to the community since about mid-April, and just preparing people, self-tapes and auditioning. And even though, career kind of slowed down, just really strengthening helping people strengthen their craft during this time. So that's been keeping me pretty busy.
And their preparation when the pandemic is over. So are you doing ongoing classes, or are you just doing a kind of a one-off kind of situation at these places?
I'm in a class right now. Not literally right now, but yes, on Tuesday was our last class for this year. Then we're going to come back and finish our last 5 sessions in the new year. But since then, I've taught probably about 10 classes at the acting studio to adults, and also to I had a 3rd through 5th grade, a 5th through 8th grade class this year. So that was my Sunday class was filled with young actors, young performers, and just
I know
keeping
they
them
love it.
engaged.
What a treat for them to be able to learn from someone like you. That's fantastic. I mean, you're really giving back and inspiring kids and showing them what things can be like for them. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, Troy, what have you been doing? We know a little bit about what you've been doing.
Oh, yeah.
Fill us in.
I have been maintaining. I've been balancing. I've got a young one. He just turned 6 months this week. We actually go to get his 6-month shots later today.
Oh.
So that has been the main thing going on. In my life has been an absolute blessing. This year is obviously a roller coaster for so many, but as they say, count it all as a blessing. I look at the opportunity that I've been able to spend with him, being able to spend a lot of time, 6 months. So that's a huge blessing. Obviously we don't get to see family like we would, like we normally would have been able to, or get those breaks. But it's been great to, catch every minute, see him first, lift his head, to when he rolls over, to when he's starting the tripod and then get up, and when he's about to tear something apart. I see that too. But that's been the main thing for me. Is professionally, it's been a huge pivot. There's several things that we've had to either shelve or transition to a new way of doing. We were, blessed to be in a position where a lot of what we were doing was digital already, and we had created a system. And I like to say, our whole thing is, it's not about doing a lot of things. It's about doing one thing that has impact. in several areas, and connecting is the main thing that I do, whether it's connecting people or connecting with people. So when a collection of things kind of get pushed to the side for a moment, there's still other things that are going. So there's always movement. So we haven't slowed down, but we've just pivoted in a different direction. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, you have many irons in the fire, and that works. When when one's not hot, something else is hot. So that's a good thing. That is a blessing. Fantastic, fantastic. So so you guys are both married. So how has the pandemic impacted your home? And I know, Troy, you've talked about it a little bit, but I'm thinking more about with your spouse. My husband and I have kind of established some new kind of norms in terms of how we interact with each other, or just how we keep each other encouraged. Have you guys done anything new, date night or anything like that?
I'll start. Well, we try, but we have, with the newborn, it adds a whole other level to that. So we've got, obviously the lockdown and then the newborn. So it is a daily journey to figure out what today brings to the table, for sure. But I will say we've everything's been about Travis right now. Yeah. So that's where we're at this point right now. So we try to get in our little moments here when he goes to sleep. After nap time, get to watch a movie, get to watch pretty much everything on Netflix. Try different restaurants, order in. We're not going anywhere. Yeah. But trying our best to keep everything else balanced, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And I'm sure that Travis does, give you a whole different diversion. Your life is different than it was before. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Charles, how about you? How about you and your wife? Do you guys have children?
We don't have children yet.
No, you do not have children.
We got a puppy. We got a dog.
Yeah, is this a new puppy that you've gotten since the pandemic, or did you have him before?
Yeah, no, we had Chai. We got her last year, so she actually just turned 2 years old at the beginning of this month.
What kind of puppy?
She's a golden doodle. Yeah, she's a mini golden doodle. And so we not to not answer your question, but she also had a litter of puppies at the beginning of the pandemic. So not a newborn little Travis, but did have some little puppies. And it was like Troy said, just that blessing of just being able to be home while that was happening and before they went to their forever homes. As far as my wife and I, we were pretty fortunate before the pandemic to just spend a lot of time together. Like she's been in grad school for the past couple of years, and doing a lot of that school remotely. And with me being an actor and just kind of like that being, where the majority of my career has lived for some time, like we've spent a lot of time together already. So it wasn't that new to be around each other as much. I think that was the routines that we definitely did have to find, is just like date nighting the essential runs that we were able to do. So like we, Home Depot runs became very romantic.
Isn't it unbelievable? I mean, the things that we do for a date, it's like it's unbelievable. Yeah.
Sitting in the drive-through, just turn on the overhead light. That's our candle light while we're sitting in the drive-through.
That's right. My husband and I had a date the other night. We went to the bank, to the drive-through. This is great. Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So what is your wife studying in school? She's in grad school.
Well, she just graduated.
Oh, good
so
for her.
We celebrated that. Yeah. We celebrated that during the pandemic. She graduated in May.
Wow.
And she was getting her master's in management. She probably is going to be mad at me for throwing this out, but like I'm a proud husband. So she just graduated from Harvard.
How wonderful.
Yeah. So I'm just like,
bravo.
Go on, girl. Go do your thing.
Come on, girl. That's fabulous. That is
so
good for her. Please tell her Congratulations from all of us. That's fantastic.
I definitely will.
Yeah, yeah, wonderful. Okay, so now, Charles, I understand you're on the faculty at DePaul, and you are teaching virtually now. Has it been much of a learning curve? Were you teaching virtually before the pandemic, or is this something that has happened during the pandemic for you?
Yeah, it's something that happened during the pandemic, and me teaching at DePaul is something that's happened since the
Oh,
pandemic. In fact, I haven't even started yet. I'm
oh,
gonna be, I start in January, so
nice.
that's been keeping me busy too, just
Yeah,
formulating, the syllabus and
yeah.
making sure that what I'm able to, what I've been able to translate in my on-camera acting classes, I can translate it to a collegiate level with grades.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
that's been a thing. So that for me, that I feel like that's gonna be the big challenge. But like I said, as soon as the pandemic happened, acting studio transitioned to virtual teaching. So I feel quite comfortable teaching on camera acting virtually.
That's
Yeah.
great. And what does that look like? I mean, how are you teaching it? Are you showing, videos, or are you demonstrating, or all of the above? What does that look like?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of all of that. One of the first classes, what we do is I have them do a monologue to someone that they know.
Mhm.
That it's not a monologue from a book or anything, or from a play or from a film. It's literally something that you would have said to someone that you would know off
Mhm.
camera, and that's the foundation. That's
Wow.
where we start from. So that way, when we start to adopt other people's words and other people's situations,
Mhm.
we can say, well, but that's not how you would have said that.
Yes, yes, that's
And
great.
that's not how you would have said that to a loved one or to a boss, because you've already showed me how you would have said that. And
Right.
so that's where we start. The rest of it, though, sign up for my class, y'all. I can't give it all away
Yeah,
for free.
that's great. That's great. So how can people sign up? Now, tell us where to go, what to do.
Yeah, so just at the acting studio, I teach a couple of on-camera courses there. I'm also a private coach, like getting people ready for auditions or for agent interviews or auditions for schools or in any of that stuff. So, and all of that you can just, I'm sure we'll share social at the end, but like just at Charles Andrew Gardner, just reach out and if it
Wonderful.
works, it will work.
Okay, well, that sounds very exciting. I'm sure people will want to do that. So, Troy, how are you managing your business? Are you using technology in a new way, or you said that your work has been pretty digital already,
Mhm.
but there been many new ways that you're using technology?
Sure. There were some tools that we started to apply as far as the management of our communications, newsletters, social media, some of the internal tools between leadership. We invested a bit more into that, and it really optimized a lot of our movement, made things a lot more efficient, and things that will definitely carry over post-pandemic. It just puts us in a much better position. We had a stockpile of content that we had built up over some time. So we were able to monetize a few things and do some licensing deals because we had some things in the bank,
Mhm.
and we didn't have to necessarily film or go into production to monetize some of our services because we had that stuff already locked and loaded. Some of the other things that have just been a great pivot for me is Cypher was always in a way for me sort of a means to an end. I saw a problem that I felt needed to be solved as far as lack of diversity and inclusion in executive or leadership roles. And as that continued to manifest itself, there was always not necessarily an exit strategy, but it was a means to an end. And so once it got to a point where I was able to get back to what I call my superpowers, my public speaking, my oratory skills, moderating, those are the things that I really always wanted to get back to. The lockdown put everybody digital. So fast forward, I got a ton of requests to moderate panels, speak at events, speak at festivals. And so it never really slowed down. It actually amplified. So I found myself getting booked on a wide variety of public speaking engagements, but it was always virtual, from speaking for the College of Media, University of Illinois, to a variety of film festivals, to several foundations. And so that just continued to grow. But I think if I had not slowed down, I probably wouldn't have done that, because I would have been sort of in this cycle of build, 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 build.
Yeah.
And I needed to kind of stop, take a breath, and really leverage what I put in place. And so that's where I will continue to move forward with now. I'm happy to say that thanks to a few joint ventures that we've been able to do during this time, during this transition period, I'm able to bring in a C-suite now. We acquired 2 production companies, another media company. So that's allowed me to further remove hats
That's
and
great.
be more of a visionary and a speaker. So I'm really looking forward to when it's safe, just getting back in front with the mic and not having to worry about a lot of the logistics. But that's the transition that this this slowing down period has allowed me to leverage right now.
That's great. And it's great that you recognize it as that. You know, that's exactly what this pandemic has done for so many of us. Give us a chance to just stop, because we'd have just been running, doing what we've been doing all the time. And, you know, this has given us an opportunity to stop, think, assess, and move forward with what we have, you know, or to come up with new things. But it's just given us an opportunity to kind of slow down. And that's really, you know, for me, that's been a really important thing.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah, because I was so busy before. Who had time to think about, you know, what was next exactly? You know, you're kind of just making it through the day with all the commitments that you have. So that's great. That's great. So you've been getting a lot more speaking engagements and so forth. So Creative Cipher then will become kind of a little bit more on the back burner now for you, do you think? Or once the pandemic is over?
In a sense, just within my personal brand, but I always want the organization to be separate from self. Again, it was never really about creating an organization to begin with. I've always been a proponent, especially when we think on the micro of Chicago. Chicago's always been loaded with talent, amazing, gifted individuals. So it was never about creating something that did not already exist, because there's a ton of resources, a ton of just amazing things going on already. It was always about connecting those things, because at times you will notice, depending on the side of town that you're on, you may not be aware that a resource is available, or you may be in a leadership setting and an organization wants to move in a direction, and they may not be aware that the person that they really need in that room is on the other side of town. And so I was very blessed to be I've sat on over 11 boards within the last 8 years. And sometimes we all have blind spots. And sometimes you just need someone in the room to raise that awareness. So I always knew that my goal was to connect those dots or shed light on things that were already in existence. Therefore, as that continued to manifest itself personally, there would always be a time when I would be able to look at it and say, okay, great. This part of my ambition has served its purpose. And now someone else can run this, or I can do a joint venture. I don't have to be the lead. Like, I'm over the titles. Like, I don't need that. I want the work. You know, I want it to work. That's what I want more than anything else. It's all about the work. And so for me, I do foresee no longer being an executive director of that particular not-for-profit. And by the way, Creative Cipher is an ecosystem. It has a for-profit and a not-for-profit, 2 different entities within the ecosystem. So passing on the not-for-profit to another executive director is within the next 6 to 12 months. And bringing on the COO and C-suite to run the entertainment division is happening now. That transition is happening at the moment. So it's going to allow me to get back into my creative space, in my world as an executive producer and brokering deals. Really enjoy that. And doing my public speaking and coaching. That's what I really have a passion for. But I think one of the things that we're always faced with as creators, as entrepreneurs, and especially as people of color, we've always had to find ways to keep things going when there may have not been the same level of access to resources.
Yes.
And so as that continues to grow, you know, it puts me back in a position, as we say, eliminate the need for permission. That was the whole goal, getting into a position where everybody can win, and then you can build an ecosystem where individuals contribute to one another and grow together, and that's happening. And so I'm just excited to see it continue to come to life.
That's wonderful. So how can people make themselves known to you if they have talents or abilities or things that you might be able to place or use them in some way?
So I'm very accessible, you know, creativecipher.org or you know, creativecipher.org, watchthecipher.com. Everything is pretty much available there. You can go to our social media, which is @CreativeCipher. If anyone is interested in contacting me, they can just go to troypryor.com. And I'm learning how to better manage my my connectedness to my email, because I can be just on my emails, and I have to learn how to step away.
Yeah.
So if you try to contact me within the next probably 30 to 60 days, I'll be quick to respond. After that, I might take a little break. So
if there's anybody out there that wants to connect, you better do it right away.
yeah, because I'm learning, I'm getting better.
That's great.
Free yourself, man.
Yes.
I love the way you said it too, Troy. I love you said managing my connectedness to my email.
Yes.
Yep, it's great.
Put those devices away.
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah.
So I understand that you guys have done some projects together. Is it, you know, so tell us a little bit about that. Whoever would like to speak first.
Well, we go back. Troy and I we go way back.
Well, tell us about that. How far back?
Yeah, what was that, Troy? 2010, 2009. Time is weird. But yeah, we did. So when I graduated from school, when I came back to Chicago, I found both of us we belong to the same fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Hey Phi, hey Val, thank you Val. And so I went to NIU. I went to Northern Illinois, and Troy, you went to U of I. And so I reached out to a fraternity brother of mine from U of I, Calvin King, who was doing stage plays on the South Side. And so immediately when I came back, I was like, oh man, I don't know how to get into the Chicago theater scene, but I got this brotherhood. Calvin, can I come and audition for you? Can I come and be in a play? I need to be on stage. I need to keep building at the same time as trying to break in everywhere else in Chicago. And that's where we first met. Was it Crossed or was it the
one before that?
The Greatest Teacher? Did you do Greatest Teacher?
You know, I think Kim, who's my wife, she was in the play. She was in the Calvin King play circuit before me. Mm-hmm. I think I went to go see the play. So were you in Greatest Teacher?
Yeah, I was in Greatest Teacher.
So I think you and Kim were in the play together.
Yep.
And then the next one I auditioned for, and that's when we played opposites in that one.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So
this is 2010, and ever since then, I tell Troy this all the time. Like, I'm so appreciative to have Troy in my life, just because he's been kind of like a guiding light, honestly, for real. And I'm happy to say this here, you know, like my work with SAG-AFTRA.
Oh man.
Go ahead, get the tissue, man, get the tissue. My work with SAG-AFTRA is actually because of Troy.
Wow.
My voiceover career is actually because of Troy.
Wow, isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, I the first project that I directed was because of Troy.
Wow.
Troy, I think that superpower of connection and connecting people and connecting with people.
Yeah.
I'm a direct beneficiary of that superpower. So appreciate you.
I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do those things, for sure. It's been a blessing to collaborate and work together. And Yeah, it was, that was a fun project that we did a while ago. Charles has coached me. I forgot what project that was, where Charles was directing, but he was coaching me and running me through the scenes. I think that was not Intersection. Zach Tucker, one of those projects for sure. So we've like you said, like Charles said, we go back. We'll probably think of all kinds of things even after this call is over. That we've been associated with, from performance to institutional to mentoring programs together. So it's been a great journey. Yeah,
That's
great
wonderful.
brother.
That is
just
wonderful.
getting started.
Real brotherhood. That is just so, it's bringing tears to my eyes. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Okay, so what do you think that the future is going to look like for your industry, your specific industry? How do you think that the things that we've learned and experienced during the pandemic affect the future for you? Troy, you want to go?
Sure. I know specifically during the unfortunate incidents this summer with racial, with George Floyd and a lot of things that have been stemming from the past and just kind of exploded. I was approached by several organizations to help them evolve in a variety of ways. And so I know for a fact that that will continue to grow, because whether it's done for the right cultural reasons or whether it's done for increasing the bottom line, if your organizations look the same that they've looked for years and years, and there's not only diversity but inclusiveness in the leadership roles, and that could be from an institutional level to an media executive level, then the writing is on the wall whether they will exist or not. And you're starting to see more and more people of color come into CEO and C-suite roles, and other positions where they will move things forward. And so for sure, that is a strong direction where things are going. Obviously with the new administration coming in, not to get political, but with the new administration, there are a lot of things that are evolving. When you look at how the new administration is being built out, the diversity, I think that a lot of those things are going to trickle down and affect us in a variety of ways. The notion of stereotypical roles and the way that media has portrayed individuals of color in the past, I can see all of that. I can see the shift. Now, it's our responsibility to keep that moving forward. So we can see it moving, but it doesn't mean that it will last.
Yes.
If we don't continue to do our part. So as far as, how it relates to me individually, it just reinforces what my ambition has always been. I've been very blessed, even within the last 2 weeks, to connect with some pretty influential individuals in those spaces that made their bread and butter, or are making their bread and butter in the professional sports world, that have transitioned over into media, and it's all in alignment. So so there'll be some really cool things that will roll out within the next 6 to 12 months.
That's great.
But I think that piece is very important as to the direction our industry is going.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. And I think also you're right in the fact that we have to keep it moving forward. We have to be mindful and keep the progress that has been made and the changes that are being made, keep it moving forward. Because, these are people, you're talking about people that are CEOs and so forth. These are people that have been qualified all along. They just have not had the opportunities. So now the opportunities are popping up, and it's great. It's great. It's great. Charles, how about you? How do you see your business changing going forward?
Yeah, from an acting standpoint, I think that we're, as the industry reopens, I'm hopeful that independent content creators take this as an opportunity to really take things into their own hands. I've always believed in just like not asking for permission and creating your own content and creating your own opportunities. SAG-AFTRA is just recently released a new contract, a micro budget agreement, which independent content creators can use and sign up on their own. So I'm hopeful that union members and members and actors in general will just see that as like oh, okay. So the union is saying that we have more power in our hands than we think, to be more responsive and to create content as we like. And so I'm hopeful that happens and that we just see more content from individuals, because so much of who we are as creatives are tied into what we're allowed to do in our careers. And so I think that by being able to take it into our own hands, we'll see a lot more people finding their inner artists, that they'll be finding their creative aspects, and also preparing themselves to launch their careers by just getting more time in front of the camera, by getting more business sense in their heads and in their habits. So I'm excited for that from an acting standpoint. I think that the entertainment industry is going to come back stronger than ever. I think that we have more thoughtfulness now around health and safety. I think that anytime that something that you are accustomed to is taken away, it is tough, but it also builds desire, and it builds ambition, and it builds like a longing. And I think that when when it's safe for everybody to return, I feel like all of this that's been bubbling up is gonna explode onto the scene. From growing up in the theater, I think that a lot of theaters are going to be hard hit coming out of this. I'm not sure how many of Chicago's theaters, smaller storefront theaters, are going to make it. And that's it's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunately inevitable. But what I am excited about is that Chicago got grit. Chicago has grit. Chicago has heart. Chicago has resilience. And I think that coming from this, I think that a lot of these artists are gonna say, well, yeah, X, Y, and Z theater open, so let's open up in their place. Let's keep growing. Now that we're back, and now that we've had time to sit down and write and think about what stories we actually want to tell, and not just gig to gig to gig, that all of that, like I said, it's just going to explode onto the scene. So from an acting standpoint, I'm really excited about the possibilities of once we come back. From a teaching aspect, I'm really excited about what I'm able to do at DePaul, and just continuing to pour in, like you said, giving back to schools and giving back to younger actors and people who are starting their careers. I think that there's going to be more people trying to get into it. Like I've been in classes and people aren't saying, oh, the industry's not open, so I'm just going to sit back and do nothing. They're using this time to prepare.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
So
wonderful. I think another thing that's going to be so apparent when we come out of this is just an appreciation for the opportunity to work, to audition, to do all of these things that we may have taken for granted in the past. I think an appreciation. Also, tell us a little bit more about this this new contract, and where people can see this contract, and how to access it, and so forth.
Yeah, it's still being worked. It's still being developed. So they've shared it with a few content creators now, just to kind of like work it, and make sure that it's robust and it can handle, what's going to happen once they place it. But keep your eyes, SAG-AFTRA actors, keep your eyes on the website, because it's going to be coming out soon.
That's great.
So yeah. And if you have the app, if you have a smartphone, definitely download the app, y'all, because you can get all of the information right to your phone without having to, search on the web.
That's great. Thank you for that information. Hope it's sinking into people's heads, because that's very important. That's very important.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, you guys have kind of, you've both been very busy, but I'm going to ask you this question anyway. What have you been doing to sustain yourselves emotionally, to keep yourself feeling perked up and enthused and encouraged and all of this. Charles, do you want to tell us?
Yeah, sure. I do yoga every day. And I've been getting into the habit. Actually, this is another way that Troy and I we connected. When what was this, Troy? 2000. This was right around when I got married. So like 2014, 2015, sometime around there. We had the 5 a.m. run
Oh
club.
yes. Yeah.
Where I mean, this was probably one of the most amazing things in my life. It started because I was trying to prepare for a role. I went to my barber and I was like, hey man, I need to learn how to be a boxer. You got some boxing stuff? He was like, meet me at the beach at 5 a.m. And I'm like, what? Steve, just show me some punches, man. But I did. I bent and I did, and it was so great. It was so great. I was able to like be connected to nature and cycles in nature that the typical person misses because they're not up yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we did it for like a week, and I was like, this is great. Hey, we need to keep doing this. And for 2 years, for 2 summers, me, him, and a group of other young Black males were waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, running, talking about relationships, talking about business. I brought in some yoga then, and it was great. So I'm still doing that. I've been getting up recently, as early as I can, trying to catch the sunrise. I'm getting up at like 5:30, I've been trying to get up at 5:55. I don't know if y'all into numbers or not, but 5:55, I'm getting up and just having my morning routine. So that's been keeping me centered. That's been keeping me focused. Like I said, Chai, taking her for walks. I'm training her up. Maybe I'll drop y'all a video of her training. It's going really well.
We'd love to see that.
And I think the biggest thing that I've been doing recently, I just started therapy. I've tried therapy a while back and it didn't go well.
Yeah.
I think it was like I felt like I was in a TV therapist situation and I was like, nah, this is not it. So I stopped, but I'm back in now and I feel like I've been able to explore, things that I haven't been able to explore because I'm constantly going, because I don't have time to make time for myself, right? And for emotional healing and emotional health. And that's been fantastic. It's really been a great experience so far. So if y'all not in therapy, if you have health coverage, I would say definitely go for it, because it is, we have to work on our inner artist before we can project our artist to other people,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Because if not, we're just projecting unsolved stuff.
You're right. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So Troy, what about you? How have you sustained yourself emotionally?
So I would say,
You don't have time. The baby's crying.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's a challenge to answer that question right now. He looks at me and he's like, hey, okay, come on, give me this bottle. But it was, one of the things I've been getting better at it, and there ebbs and flows, but my meditation practice, and it goes back to this idea of slowing down and just breathing and just stepping away from the devices, trying to make room, moving certain things out of the way, because there's so much more obviously being put on my plate at this moment. So, trimming the fat. I go through what I would have called my to-do list several months ago, which is probably 10% of what it was then. And I'm totally okay with that, being able to say no a lot more. All of these logistical things that help me to make room for emotional growth. It has been quite the up and down. My cheeks are a little fuller right now. I haven't been doing as much exercising as I'd like to. But I would say, that meditation, even if it's 5-10 minutes in the morning, I was always a morning person. So getting up, trying to get as much done within that period of time before things start to ramp up, again, are some logistical things that I've done to make way. but that's probably, that's probably the main thing is just, quote unquote, trimming the fat,
Mhm.
prioritizing is a better way to put
Yeah.
that, has really helped for sure.
That's great. That's great.
If
Well,
you
I
want to
just
start
want
back exercising, Troy, meet me at the
me too.
beach. Meet me at the
Oh
beach.
yeah, and then and the brother he's talking about, he's a fry brother of ours as well. I haven't seen him in a minute. Obviously, he's a barber, but he is soul brother number one. You
Oh,
you go there to get a haircut, and you're gonna get a lot more. Yeah.
oh, that's great. That's great. That's great. Well, this has been such a pleasure for me to chat with you guys. I feel so proud of both of you and your accomplishments and the things that you continue to do. And I'm very proud of your allegiance to each other. I think it's just fantastic. So I thank you so much for being with us this morning. We're going to call Jess back and see what she has to say, if she has any questions or whatever. Hi, Jess.
Yeah, we're gonna open it up. Hi. We're gonna open it up in case anybody has anything they want to add. I have a question, just kind of bookending this conversation, and this will be one for you too, Greta. And I think we played with this question last week too, but I think this is the one I continue to be generally interested in. It's a two-part question, which is one, what do you miss desperately? What can't you wait for when the world opens back up? And two, what are you going to take into the new world with you that you wouldn't have gotten had this experience not happened to yourself, personal, professional? So to repeat, the two parts are, what do you want? What do you crave? What do you wish and want to get access to again? And what are you grateful for? What would you not have acquired had you not had this pandemic life moment? And whoever wants to start, I want to have a round table to hear where everyone's at on the map with that kind of life experience.
Well, I would like to start. The thing that I cannot wait for is to see my friends in person and hug them. That is the thing that I cannot wait for. And then the second question was what? What was it?
What would you not have acquired had you not had this experience? So what will you journey forward with you into the new world post-pandemic that you have taken away from having this 9-month plus sit down?
Tech skills for me, and the lack of fear of it. I had never done Zoom prior to the pandemic, and I was mortified. I think we talked about it last week a little bit. I did some music business courses very early on in the pandemic through the Coffer Center. And I was mortified. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. And you said to me, Jess, just jump in with both feet. Nobody knows what they're doing. Just learn. And I did. And I have learned so much. So that is the thing that I will take with me. I am now teaching classes on Zoom and I had a virtual recital for my private students last Sunday on Zoom. And it was fabulous. We had 100 people. We were like right at 97 and close to the cutoff number. So that is what I will be taking with me and continuing to use in the future.
Nice. Charles, what about you?
I miss theater. I miss theater so much. Being on stage. I was in a play and it got interrupted. And I was scheduled to do another play in the summer, fall. So just being on stage, that energy and electricity that you feel, and being in the audience, and like collective buy-in, collective suspension of disbelief, and just like the sounds of other people laughing and like knowing or like responding, and so all of these people feeling and thinking and expressing at the same time, to the same words, to the same imaginated is not a word, but you know what I mean, situation. I really, really, really miss that. And I didn't know that I did as much, right? So I'm definitely gonna, as soon as we can, I'm running to the theater to see some.
Well, I think that, you think you didn't know you missed it because I think Chicagoans have absolutely had that experience of like, if there's nothing else, there's always a show, right? Like you could,
right.
If I'm not in a show, there's a friend I could see in a show, or
right.
if we don't have something else to talk about, we could say, what have you seen lately? you know, like Chicago actors, like the Chicago theater scene is just kind of like lifeblood. It's just sustaining. It's always
Yeah.
happening. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
I
the
hear that. I hear that.
yeah, and the thing that I'm gonna take with me, that I didn't know that I had in me. Well, I kind of knew I had this in me, but I have a green thumb, and specifically, we planted some rose bushes outside of our building, and so I'm definitely, I'm gonna keep going. We planted some bushes and hydrangeas,
Oh.
so I'm feeling pretty good. Give me another year. Look, home and garden, here I come. Okay.
Get it,
I'm
Very
just
impressive.
I'm just saying.
get it.
Those are serious Gardner choices too. Those are things that recoup a return year after year when you take good care. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
there you go. Okay. Troy, what about you?
Yeah, I'm with Greta. Hugs, that physical connection uh, is amazing, and you don't. I can foresee just an outpouring of love when all of this is wrapped up. Being able to, I'm very connected with my church family. I grew up in a family full of clergy, so I've done a few virtual sermons and during this time. So I can only imagine what it will be like to get back into that setting, with your family, church family. Think about the holidays that have all been affected, where I would have gone over my uncle's house, and there would have been 20 people over there, and my cousins would have been running around, and somebody's playing video games, and I'm going for my second plate and all of that. None of that stuff is happening right now. So really, really excited about that human connection. As far as what I will take, I prided myself prior to the pandemic on being a very organized individual. And I can say that the pandemic has probably taken that to a whole other level, just because of the tools that I've had to become accustomed to using now. So I believe it reminds me of a scene. One of my favorite scenes is in The Matrix, the first Matrix, where Neo is training in the dojo with Morpheus, and they download a kung fu program, and he just stops for a second, and he's like, "I know kung fu." I've gone and I've taken so many courses and so many classes over this time just for development. I'm going to take all of that into the next phase of things. So I'm happy to say I know kung fu now.
That's great. That's great.
I love that.
Jess, how about you? How about you?
Oh, I mean, so the miss I think is the same as Charles. I mean, I think I miss theater, and I've even like going to some virtual events. Like I did went to a storytelling night that Second Story put on, and I did virtually what I do, at a show, which is like I check in, I see what's happening, and then I went and looked at all the attendees, and I'm like, who do I know here? And then I started chatting the people that I'm like happy to see at the show. You know what I mean? And then like after that was done, and then they were like smart, because they said, they did their event, and then they said, okay, so chat this person if you want to be sent to a breakout room with your friends. I'm like, that's exactly right, because what you do when the show is done is you go find your friend in the lobby, and you have a conversation about what have you been up to and how are you doing and how'd you like the show and da 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 da. You know what I mean? Like, I realized just even in that construct that I'm like, that's the experience of being one among many, experiencing something, and then also being part of something that feels like community, where you could set eyes on someone that you want to connect with, and like it was like one of my moments of grief during this pandemic is like I was cleaning out a purse and I found like 3 programs in it. And like programs have been like one of those things to like show you, it's like receipts. It's like, it's where you've been, right? And I was like, oh, look at these programs, except they're a year old. And I had that like moment of like, wait, or I'm like, I have no new programs to put in a bin or whatever. I have nothing, So that is what is theater. Save the arts. What I look forward to carrying with me is, I mean, I think it's a different version of what you're talking about, Troy, which is like, that healthy relationship with your inbox. I think that, if you marry that discipline of like separation along with like the gratitude of having that front row seat to your son's life, to my daughter potty training to like, I didn't hear about her potty training from caregivers checking in on an app. Like I've been here for it because I've been working at home, you know? And so like that idea that like we work to live and not live to work, you know, like how do you separate yourself from your work so that you have your space for your life to exist and have those not contrast with each other, but like conjoin with each other, you know, and have a separation. I think that's like having the experience of like watching my child go through the 6th grade instead of hearing from him how 6th grade was, you know, has been a unique thing. And so that appreciation for being checked in with my family is the question of how you move into the new world is how do I carve out space for my life, you know, when I get to have access to the rest of the world. So that's what I look forward to endeavoring to do in our new world. And Troy, congratulations to you, because I don't think I've seen you since Prince Travis has been part of our community. So I look forward to a vaccine so that we can all be safe enough to say, I can't wait for you to bring your baby to the Coffer Center so that I could cuddle that baby and like hear about all the things and not just like hear about them secondhand, like hear about like your sleep deprivation secondhand, but I could say, go take a nap on that couch while I walk around the office with Travis. Like that's what I look forward to also. So
that is real.
Yeah, you don't have anybody to take your hands and give you naps. You don't have people swooping in and making you meals and telling you to go to bed. Like that's such a tough thing about new parenthood. So I look forward to like the rest of your community opening up to you guys that you could have that like new parent, like it takes a village experience.
Oh yeah, so. I think I'll just nap for just 4 days. It's just, you know.
Well, put my name on your dance card because I owe you one pilfered nap at the Coffer Center when the world opens up.
Thank you.
That's appreciate great. That. Well, thanks so much, you guys. This has just been such a vibrant and wonderful conversation. I really appreciate you being here with us. And thank you, Jess. Thank you, Henrique. And Jess, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm going to wish you guys a happy holiday. My friends, Troy, Charles, and Greta. I will wish you, viewing audience, a happy holiday. Yeah, we are gearing down for the holidays. We'll have one more Wake Up Wednesday this coming week before the holidays. So if you want to have a conversation and a cup of coffee with people this coming Wednesday, 10 a.m. Central is when we'll do that. So that'll be your last chance before we wish you all merry, peaceful, healthy, sane holidays with whomever you're with, wherever you are, with whatever you're doing. We look forward to connecting with you guys in the new year, and we thank you for being with us today. If you need our support in any way, don't hesitate to reach out to us again through the Coffer Center, through social media, or through our website, coffercenterchicago.com. And until we connect, we wish you a safe and happy and healthy one. And to everyone, we'll talk to you guys soon.
Happy holidays.
Thank you guys for being here.
January.
Happy holidays, y'all.
Bye.